In addition to the life forms that we see around us, there is also some unseen life on earth. Means there are certain life forms that we cannot see with a naked eye. If we wish to hide ourselves, we can hide only from those whom we can see, but not from the world which is almost omnipresent and not visible to us. Today, let's find out about these minute forms which form an integral part of our own world.
ਹੈਲੋ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ, ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਲੈਸਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਾਇਰਸਿਸ, ਵਾਇਰੋਇਡਸ ਐਂਡ ਲਾਈਕਨਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਾਂਗੇ। Students, R.H. Whitaker, an American ecologist, made an attempt to solve the taxonomic problems in the second half of 20th century. He proposed a five-kingdom system of classification in the year 1969 to show the relationship between the various organisms. Whitaker classified the living organisms into five kingdoms: Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Plantae, and Kingdom Animalia. Students, but in this five-kingdom system of classification of Whitaker, there is no mention of some acellular organisms like viruses and viroids and lichens. In today's topic, we are going to study these unclassified organisms. Let us start with viruses. All ailments like flu, cold sores, chickenpox, etc. are caused by viruses. But viruses did not find a place in classification since they are not truly living. If we understand living as those organisms that have a cell structure, the viruses are non-cellular organisms that are characterized by having an inert crystalline structure outside the living cell. Once they infect a cell, they take over the machinery of the host cell to replicate themselves, killing the host. Would you call viruses living or non-living? Viruses ਇੰਨੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਨੰਗੀ ਅੱਖ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੇਖੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ। ਇਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਰੈਪਲੀਕੇਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਇਸ ਲਈ ਇਹ ਹੋਸਟ ਸੈੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਇਨਵੇਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ and take over the machinery of the host cell to be able to make more viruses. Viruses are the smallest known forms of life in their simplest forms, consisting of little more than a small amount of genetic material. Their origin is not known, but many scientists believe that viruses are among the oldest forms of life. ਪਰ ਵਾਇਰਸ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ? ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵਿਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ? ਇਹ ਕਿਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ? ਇਹ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਵੱਧਦੇ ਹਨ? ਆਓ ਛੇਤੀ-ਛੇਤੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਵਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਜਾਣੀਏ।
Structure and size of viruses. Virus is an ultra microscopic, that is 20 to 300 nanometer in diameter, metabolically inert, infectious agent that replicates only within the cells of living hosts, mainly bacteria, plants, and animals. It is composed of an RNA or DNA core, a protein coat, and in more complex types, a surrounding envelope. A virus is basically a tiny ball of genetic material, either DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid, or RNA, that is, ribonucleic acid. It does not have a typical cellular organization. Its DNA or RNA is packed in a shell. This shell is known as a capsid. Capsid is made up of bits of protein called capsomeres.
To truly understand what a virus is, we also need to understand what a virus is not. A virus is not a bacterium or an independently living organism. Viruses are incredibly tiny particles that float around in the air and settle on things like furniture, doorknobs, and remote controls until they come into contact with a living cell. A virus is unable to reproduce in the absence of another living cell. ਵਾਇਰਸਿਸ ਆਕਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਸੂਖਮ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਇੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਕਿ ਲਾਰਜੈਸਟ ਵਾਇਰਸ ਵੀ ਲਾਈਟ ਮਾਈਕਰੋਸਕੋਪ ਦੇ ਅੰਡਰ ਵਿਜ਼ੀਬਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ। ਇਹ ਕੇਵਲ ਹਾਇਰ ਰੈਜ਼ੋਲੂਸ਼ਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਇਲੈਕਟ੍ਰੋਨ ਮਾਈਕਰੋਸਕੋਪ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਹੀ ਵੇਖੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਨ। ਵਾਇਰਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਆਕਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਭਿੰਨਤਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। They range in size from 20 to 300 nanometers. And you know, 1 nanometer is 1 billionth of a meter. ਵਾਇਰਸ ਦੇ ਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਾਇਰਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਕੁਝ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਕੈਰੈਕਟਰਿਸਟਿਕਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
General characters of virus. All viruses are obligate parasites. They multiply only within living host cells and remain metabolically inert outside the host cell. They are ultramicroscopic and can only be viewed with electron microscope. These are the smallest entities. The smallest known virus is merely 10 nanometer as foot and mouth virus of cattle. The smallest plant virus is alfalfa mosaic virus, which is 17 nanometer. The size of tobacco mosaic virus TMV is 300 into 17.5 nanometer. The size is 1250 into 40 nanometer of beet yellow virus. So, the size of virus varies to a great extent. As far as shape of virus is concerned, 3 architectural forms are found in viruses. Helical form of virus has elongated body, such as in TMV. Cuboidal form has short, broad body, as found in vaccinia. Polyhedral form of shape can be seen in poliomyelitis virus. Binal form of virus has both cuboidal and helical parts, such as in many bacteriophages like T2. So, we can say that these viruses vary greatly in appearance also. A virus does not grow, means they don't reproduce outside the host body. Instead, it multiplies by independent formation of its parts using host machinery and then by assembling parts to produce virus particles. The viral genetic material, the nucleic acid, may be either DNA or RNA. The two nucleic acids are never present in a given virus. Viruses are easily transmitted from infected host to the healthy ones through various agencies.
ਇਸ ਲਈ ਵਾਇਰਸਿਸ ਇੰਨੇ ਇਨਫੈਕਟਿਵ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਮੋਲੈਸਟ ਅਮਾਉਂਟ ਵੀ ਹੋਸਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਫੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਵਾਇਰਸਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਮੈਟਾਬੋਲਿਕ ਐਕਟੀਵਿਟੀਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਹੋਸਟ ਸੈਲਸ ਦੀ ਮੈਟਾਬੋਲਿਜ਼ਮ ਮਸ਼ੀਨਰੀ ਨੂੰ ਯੂਟਿਲਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਇਸ ਲਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਨਫੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਰ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਜੋ ਐਂਟੀਬਾਇਓਟਿਕਸ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ। ਇਸੇ ਲਈ ਵਾਇਰਲ ਇਨਫੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਆਸਾਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। As just discussed, unable to do anything on their own, viruses are pieces of genetic molecules that can do nothing by themselves. Viruses go into host cells to reproduce, often wreaking havoc and causing disease. They cannot multiply on their own. Because of this inability to reproduce on their own, viruses are considered to be non-living. But if they come into contact with a suitable plant, animal, or bacterial cell, they spring into action. They infect and take over the cell like pirates hijacking a ship. That is why some biologists currently see the virus as non-living infectious particles. Other biologists disagree and suggest they are alive because of what happens inside the host cell. It is very difficult to say that whether viruses are alive or dead. So we conclude that viruses are strange things which are right on the border between living and non-living. Let us see some interesting shapes of some viruses.
Different shapes of viruses. Viruses have many shapes. Some look like tall, weird spiders, while others look like prickly porcupine or jelly balls. This is tobacco mosaic virus, so named because it attacks tobacco leaves, and this is the capsid of the virus. As I had mentioned earlier, capsid is made up of small units known as capsomere. RNA possessing a helical structure is present in the hollow cylinder of the capsid. This is another type of virus which looks like an alien pod. It is known as bacteriophage because it infects a bacterial cell. It is mainly made up of three parts: head, envelope, and tail. The tail is used to attach itself to the host cell. The head is basically the capsid and contains DNA as the genetic material. Envelope is made up of glycolipids. Another most common shape of virus is this round shape. It consists of nucleic acid surrounded by a many-sided capsid. The poliovirus and virus causing AIDS, that is HIV, are of this shape.
That's it. In a simple structure, na head, na thorax, na hath, ਅਤੇ ਨਾ ਲੱਤਾਂ। ਇੰਨੇ ਸਿੰਪਲ ਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਵਾਇਰਸਿਸ ਸ਼ੇਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ astonishing variety ਵਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ। But they basically have two things in common: the capsid and a core of genetic material, either DNA ਔਰ RNA। ਆਓ ਹੁਣ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਬ ਮਾਈਕਰੋਸਕੋਪਿਕ ਸਟਰਕਚਰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। How does a virus work? It is really very interesting to learn that in spite of having no cellular organization, a virus manages to multiply and create havoc in our body.
On landing on a suitable host cell, the virus attaches itself to the host cell. It quietly releases its genetic material into the host cell. This viral DNA enters the nucleus of the host cell. The host cell does not recognize it as foreign material and starts copying it along with its own DNA. In this way, the viral genes get copied over many times. These new viral genes help to form new copies of the same virus. The host cell bursts, releasing these viruses. Now, these viruses infect other cells of the host, and thus the infection spreads. Some examples of viruses are influenza virus causing flu, HIV causing AIDS, polio virus, rabies caused by a rhabdovirus, usually caught by an infected animal bite, smallpox virus, measles virus, herpes virus, dengue fever virus.
So we can say that viruses are pieces of genetic molecules that can do nothing by themselves. They need to go into host cells to reproduce, often wreaking havoc and causing disease. आओ ਹੁਣ viruses ਦੀ economic importance ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
Economic importance of the viruses. These tiny creatures are harmful to living things and infect animals, plants, and even bacteria. Viruses are culprits of many human diseases, including smallpox, flu, AIDS, certain types of cancer, and the ever-common cold. Humans are in a constant battle with viruses.
After learning about the viruses, now it is time to study the viroids. Viroids ਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ 1971 ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਰੀਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਐਗਰੀਕਲਚਰਲ ਰਿਸਰਚ ਸਰਵਿਸ ਪਲਾਂਟ ਪੈਥੋਲੋਜਿਸਟ ਥੀਓਡੋਰ ਓਟੋ ਡਾਇਨਰ ਨੇ ਡਿਸਕਵਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਹੀ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਵੀ ਦਿੱਤਾ। Viroids are microscopic infectious agents which are much smaller than the viruses. These infect higher plants such as potatoes, tomatoes, and cucumbers, causing stunted or distorted growth and sometimes death. It can be transmitted by pollen, seed, or farm implements. Viroids are single strands of RNA and lack even the protein coat of viruses. They do not code for any specific protein but are able to replicate themselves in the nuclei of infected cells. Potato spindle tuber viroid was the first to be identified. The human pathogen hepatitis D is similar to viroids. After learning about the viroids, let us now discuss about lichens. Lichens ਇਸ planet ਦੇ ਕੁਝ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ amazing living things ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਹਨ. Often the first form of life to colonize rocky areas. Lichens are commonly seen and overlooked. They are particularly common on older buildings, stone walls, in graveyards, and on most perennial plants, particularly trees. Lichens are inherently attractive, more so the more you observe them. आओ lichens बारे होर जानिए.
Lichens. Lichens are a successful association between a fungus and an alga. Each partner does the best. It is very good example of natural cooperation. They live as one organism, both inhabiting the same body, and forms a symbiont layer as shown here in the visual. The dominant partner is a fungus. The fungal component is called mycobiont and the algal component is called phycobiont. Fungi, due to lack of chlorophyll, are incapable of making their own food. Alga, present in its association, provides food. Traditionally, 3 broad categories of lichens have been recognized. Crustose lichens grow on land, tree trunks, rocks, etc. These look like a thick or a thin crust as shown here in the visual. Foliose lichens, such as the one shown in the visual, grows on rocks, tree trunks. They take their name from the fact that they are vaguely similar to foliage or leaves. They are flat and lobed. When foliose lichens mature, they form leaf-like thallus. They are attached to the substratum by rhizoids. Fruticose lichens have small bushy thallus. Means many fruticose lichens do indeed look like miniature shrubs, and the thallus is highly branched, as shown here in the visual. Notice the cup-like items at the end of many of the lichen branches. These are the reproductive cups, which are fungal in nature.
ਇਹ lichens ਲਗਭਗ 400 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਈਅਰਸ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪਛਾਣੇ ਗਏ ਅਤੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹਨ. ਕੁਝ ਇੰਡੀਵਿਜੂਅਲ ਸਪੀਸ਼ੀਜ਼ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਹਾਈਪੋਜਿਮਨੀਆ ਫਾਈਸੋਡਸ ਲਗਭਗ 25 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਈਅਰਸ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਹਨ. Obviously, the lichen symbiosis is a successful strategy. So students, this was all about the viruses, viroids and lichens. And with this, we conclude our lesson today. Here is what we have learnt from this unit. ਵਾਇਰਸ ਜੀਵਿਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਾਇਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਫੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ. ਇੱਕ ਵਾਇਰਸ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਜੈਨੇਟਿਕ ਮਟੀਰੀਅਲ ਜੋ DNA ਜਾਂ RNA ਦੀ ਬਣੀ ਹੋਈ ਇੱਕ ਟਾਈਨੀ ਬਾਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. ਇਹ ਕੈਪਸਿਡ, ਐਨਵੈਲਪ, ਨਿਊਕਲੀਓਇਡ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਬਣਦੇ ਹਨ ਜਾਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਇੱਕ ਜਾਂ ਦੋ ਐਂਜ਼ਾਈਮਸ ਨਾਲ ਬਣੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ. Viruses are strange things which are on the border between living and non-living. Viroids were discovered and given this name by Theodore Otto Diner, a plant pathologist at the Agricultural Research Service in Maryland in 1971. Viroids microscopic infectious agents ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ ਜੋ ਕਿ viruses ਤੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ. ਇਹ higher plants ਜਿਵੇਂ potatoes, tomatoes, ਐਂਡ ਕਿਊਕੰਬਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਇਨਫੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ ਅਤੇ ਸਟੰਟਡ ਜਾਂ ਡਿਸਟੋਰਟਡ ਗਰੋਥ ਦਾ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਕਿ ਡੈਥ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਕਾਰਨ ਬਣਦੇ ਹਨ। Lichens are some of the most amazing living things on this planet. These are common on older buildings, stone walls, in graveyards, and on most perennial plants, particularly trees. Lichens are a successful alliance between a fungus and an alga. Each partner does the best. It is very good example of natural cooperation. So students, enough for today. Let us quickly check with some short questions what you have grabbed today. Be attentive. Here are some questions. First question. Define a virus. Answer. Virus is an ultramicroscopic, that is 20 to 300 nanometers in diameter, metabolically inert, infectious agent that replicates only within the cells of living hosts, mainly bacteria, plants and animals. It is composed of an RNA or DNA core, a protein coat, and in more complex types, a surrounding envelope. Next question. What is the size of viruses? Answer. Viruses range in size from 20 to 300 nanometers. My next question is, name the smallest plant virus. The answer is, the smallest plant virus is alpha mosaic virus, which is 17 nanometers. The next question is, write two main characters of viruses. Answer. The viral genetic material may be either DNA or RNA. The two nucleic acids are never present in a given virus. They multiply only within the living host cells and remain metabolically inert outside the host cell. The next question is, write some common diseases caused by viruses. Answer. Flu, AIDS, yellow fever, polio and rabies are the common diseases caused by viruses. The next question is, what is TMV? Answer. TMV is tobacco mosaic virus. It is long, thin rod-shaped virus. The size of TMV is 300 into 17.5 nanometers. It infects tobacco plant. My next question is, who discovered viroids? Answer. Viroids were discovered and given this name by Theodor Otto Diener, a plant pathologist at the Agricultural Research Service in Maryland in 1971. The next question is, what are viroids? Answer. Viroids are microscopic infectious agents which are much smaller than the viruses. These infect higher plants such as potatoes, tomatoes, and cucumbers. These are single strands of RNA and lack the protein coat of viruses. The next question is, what are lichens? The answer is, lichens are a successful alliance between a fungus and an alga. Each partner does the best. It is very good example of natural cooperation. The fungal component is called mycobiont and the algal component is phycobiont. Hope I have made a successful attempt to clear your concepts regarding the viruses, viroids and lichens, which will help you in fetching good marks in the exam. Thanks for your cooperation and attention. Looking forward to the next class. See you then. Thanks.